Welcome back, guys, to another exciting episode of the Be Different podcast. As always, guys, you'll never hear the end of this. I'm excited, and it's exciting, and it's another exciting episode. I'm your host, Nekesa Esther, and today we have a very, very, very important guest. Okay, let me volume check. I'm too excited. Okay, and today we have a very, very important guest, and I will let her introduce herself.
Let me say, finally. You know, when Nekesa started this podcast, I've been an ardent follower. I watch, I listen. First of all, it started as there was no video.
Yeah.
So that's where we started. Yeah. And I've been waiting for my invitation. How many years later?
So is it 1 or 2? We are almost like what? Are we 1.5 years or 2?
Okay, many years later I've been invited. I'm finally here. I have made the cut. Yeah, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Oh, so my name is Mariam Maina Kamau. They call me Mish. And I am a wife, a mother to 3 girls. I'm in PR and communications, and right now I work for an organization that promotes Kenya's exports and also brands the nation, called Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency.
Welcome, Mish.
Thank you.
You heard, guys. So, okay, these things, by the way, let me tell you, let me just say something small. I heard the other day, fashionable stepmom was doing a confession about her podcast, and she was saying the way the podcast it has even made them almost break up in the house. These things are very, very vulnerable and very, for me, it has been a very spiritual journey. So, guys, I do not necessarily sit down and think, okay, now who's next? It's not like a mental process. It's more of a, now this month we've been doing authors. And I was like, Mish has a book. So I knew that we agreed with the producer. We were like, yeah, we make it 4 for it to be like, you know, now a complete series. And you see,
I made the cut.
Yeah, you got the cut. So I don't know. Yeah. So it's not, what is it called? It's not on purpose. And then it's not always those ones of, well, anyway, these podcast things. So guys, we are here with another author, and let me tell you, I have mad respect for authors, and I always say this, it's because I read a book every month. So I was privileged to have read this, yes, when it was still in the draft, when it was still a draft. So we'll let Mish tell us about her book first before I ask her all the questions that I want to ask her. Tell us about your book,
thank
Mish.
you. So my book, as you can see, the title is Same Script, Different Cast. So I started writing this book, I think in 2019, before COVID hit. And then, you know, when you're writing, you're looking for inspiration, you're looking for a storyline. I was following a certain group in the UK, and they were talking about self-publishing. So guys had all these things, a wall full of like a map of how you want the storyline to be. So at some point I was like, okay, am I doing the right thing? I didn't have like a whole roadmap to how the book will be. I'll just sit on my laptop and type out even a day I'll even do maybe a paragraph, and then I'll not have anything else to do to add to the book that day. But slowly the book came up. There times I'll even sit and do even 3-4 chapters, because now I could see where it is heading. So I was doing a lot of guesswork, bringing in so many things maybe ideas from things I've watched, just my mind going all over. And I was actually doing it for fun. So when COVID came, I think that time I had gotten a baby, and I was on maternity leave, and we were all in the house. So at night I'll just I'll just work on my book. And finally I got a book, and then I sat on it, like literally sat on it. My husband is not happy with me. First of all, when I told him I'm coming, he's like, hey, finally you're doing something, because he wanted it to be out last year. But I'm here, and it will be out soon. Yes. So the book is basically about a guy called Chacha. It's fictional. And why I chose fiction is because I love fiction. For me, I can actually tell you the biographies I've read. And I don't do motivational books, by the way. I feel I have motivation enough for myself. So I don't do motivational books. I actually don't even read them. Then biographies, I think I've just read, I think 2 or 3. Oh yeah, Becoming, Michelle Obama. And then I've done Trevor Noah, Born a Crime. And of course, Gabriel Union. We might need more wine. Yes, so yeah, this is fictional. It's about a guy called Chacha. And Chacha did a long con on 5 of his wives. And then 4 of them took out, decided to go on a revenge mission. And the story focuses specifically on Taji, who is the current wife. So Chacha has been conning women, his wives. He'll marry into rich families and he'll take up managing the property. And he was amassing all this wealth because he came from a poor family background. And he was trying now to build a future with his next wife. His 6th wife was going to be now his future. But these women kind of found themselves in this web of Chacha's long con. And they went on a mission. Chacha's life is basically focused on a fictional book. So it's a book within a book. You remember literature and you're doing those, a book within a book. So he based his life on a book called The Family Heist, which is still fictional. I don't know if there's a book like that. So this guy, the main character in Family Heist, was also doing a long con on his wives. So Chacha literally took that life and lived it. Even his backstory, you know, there you don't even, his backstory, his actions, every step was advised by that chapter. And every lady he dated, all the 5 women he dated, had chapters in that book. And the ladies finally decided, no, this has become too much. Somehow, as you read the book, I'll not reveal everything. As you read the book, you'll find how these ladies met and the kind of the plot that they had. And they were trying to change the last chapter of Chacha's ending. Wow. You see, he's living by a script and he knows by this time I should have done this. Yeah, so you'll find it interesting. Actually, I enjoyed working on it, and every time I read it, I'm always like, I'm not the one who wrote this. Oh, this is mine. Yeah. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I know it's not easy, especially writing fiction. I know you've talked about self-help, and they always seem like, now that I've spoken to, is it 2 or 3 young people who've written self-help, but for fictional, the other, was it last month, we read a book called Confessions of a 40-something F-up. And I remember we got the attention of the author and we started asking her, how is it 100% fiction? Because there's no way we were believing the story was that good. So even you, I know you've explained, but 100% fiction.
Yes.
There's no truth. There's nothing from your life that you can relate it with. Not inspired by any event.
Not inspired by any event, but there are some places, like you'll see, I'll talk about Nairobi, I'll talk about Mombasa. I also wanted to bring it home. I do want to write about countries that maybe I've never been to. You know, I wanted it to, even the names of the characters, you'll find I'm calling them Pendo, Tamara, Taji, Suki, like African names, as you can, even Chacha. So I wanted it to be home, Kenyan, and basically even the settings, you'll see some of the, maybe a street I'll mention is somewhere that maybe exists, but basically even the setting is Mombasa, is Nairobi. We'll talk about an airport. We'll just talk about how you normally live your life, being a Kenyan. So I wanted, especially because my target was basically Kenyans, and maybe have it maybe on Amazon and you can download it onto your Kindle. But basically I wanted you to, when you're reading the book, you can relate to it. And maybe, you know, being a wife, being wives, being ladies who have been conned, you know, the kind of thinking that will go into a process. You're trying to catch someone who has done something to you. So all that, like I just had to go out of the norm and try and just see how I can bring out this story really well. So it was just a lot of, it's just 100% fiction.
The beauty is that I read it, and of course the first times you're trying to guess. Now that I know you and you're the one who gave me the book, I'm like, I'm trying to guess, I'm trying to see. Because I saw a lot, there's a lot of, of course you've mentioned, there's a lot of betrayal, disappointment, there's a lot of, did you say suicide?
Yeah, there's one of the wives, killed herself.
The element of friendship and how, you know, women come together and do all that. So, of course, when you're reading, try and give it to your circle of friends and see the way they will try to guess like, this,
this must be
that name, that car, that house, that one. They'll try and just think who you are trying to talk about. It's a struggle. And I remember that's one of the questions that we were asking that author. Was it 100% fiction? And she was like, yeah, it's 100% fiction, because that book was written as a journal, like everyday journaling of a 40-year-old, and life hasn't gone the way she thought it would. And we completely related. That's why we were struggling with the question of the fiction. So the most interesting thing also, I always ask people, tell me your 8 to 5 when you were writing the book. I was literally seated next to you almost every other day when you were writing this book. So, but still, please tell us your 8 to 5 while you were writing this book, like what was going on around that time in your life, and how hard or easy was it? Can you put a timeline to when you started and when you finished?
So I started writing around maybe November 2019. I was about to go on maternity leave because my baby came in January, end of January. So I started writing. I remember I mentioned to you that I want to do, I'm writing a book. So that time when I started off, I didn't have like a clear direction that I was taking in this book.
We are 8 to 5.
Yes, yes. So there are days I will come, I'll sit on my laptop, do the normal things, work. If I'm in the house, I'll do housework. And in the evening at around maybe 4, 5, I'll sit and write. At night, by the way, these things used to come to me a lot at night. There's even a time I woke up at night to write because I got an idea. I had a paper. It was a plain paper and A4, and I used to scribble. Like I'll walk and get an idea, I'll scribble it, I'll scribble. Then I also rearrange in the chapter. So my 8 to 5 will be normal work. Like I didn't say, I'm going on what do authors do? They go on a retreat to write. No. I didn't want it to be like that, because at the end of the day, I didn't even think I'll have a book. So it was just something to keep myself busy. And then, as I said, that time when COVID came, we didn't have so much work we were doing. So that times I'll even just sit and from morning maybe to around lunchtime, do some work, write. I never like really had any 8 to 5 on writing this book. Yes. So it was just, as it comes, ideas come. I type away. And
you didn't have a goal, and you didn't even want to make money.
Hey, let me tell you. First of all, after I finished writing, remember, I think the copy you read was an A4.
It was soft.
It was soft. You read the soft.
PDF. Hey guys, I read soft. On my phone, I was like this.
Hey, okay. So this book is 221 pages.
Yeah.
So I think the first time I printed it out, I bound it on just the normal way you can do an A4. Then I felt the A4 was too big, and I remember I gave it to an editor. That's the first time by the way, it was actually edited by a professional.
Oh, nice.
That's when I saw this thing is serious, because my husband is one who got someone to do it for me, and I actually paid. Imagine, I paid. Hey, I have to make money off this book.
Now that you think about it,
I paid. So I paid the editor, and she gave me her edits, and we worked on it, and she read it again and again. Wow. And then I gave a former colleague. She's been in publishing a lot for the longest time, Jerry. So Jerry also read it and gave me feedback. Okay. And then to make it serious, by the way, if you look at my book, it has an ISBN number. It has an ISBN number. So I even copyrighted it, and then I owe the library a copy once I publish it. Yeah, because that's the rule. If they assign you pay for it, the ISBN number. If you pay for it, you have to give them a copy for their records that this book actually came out. Yeah. So that's when I started seeing this thing is serious. Yeah. So the first time now I gave a printer to do for me like a sample. When I saw the book, I was actually so impressed. First of all, my designer did a really good job, because I also paid for that. I have to make money. I actually paid for that. Yeah. So when I started seeing how this is now becoming serious, I was like, okay, I am becoming an author. And I don't know if I'll do another book, but who knows, time will tell.
This is good. I remember after I read the book, I just told you, wow, you are an author. And it's not your first novel.
No.
Tell us about your other novels.
And when I was in Moi, in my undergraduate, I did literature, and part of our fourth year project was either you write a novel with 16 chapters, or you do a collection of short stories or a collection of poems. So I did the short stories. I had 16 short stories. I remember it was called The Diary of a Market Woman and Other Stories. So I had 16 stories because every week, a semester had 16 weeks. So every week the professor was expecting to find a chapter, a short story, a short story, a short story. So that was my first book. I actually converted that into my, it's part of, I have a page, I have a blog. So that's when I used to post it. I posted my stories there. I didn't do much about it, but then remember it even had a cover. You remember it was, I got an artist to draw a cover and all that. So I'll say that was my first book. That was my first book. And then also just keeping a blog, writing. Okay, nowadays I don't do it much, but I think I should go back. So writing, I've always loved writing. I think it started even before I joined campus, because I remember in high school, in my, was it in Form 4? We did a magazine, an official magazine. The high school I was in didn't have a magazine, and these other schools had magazines. So I did just something small for a magazine. So over there, I've always loved writing, and I think writing came to me when I was in class 6. I remember a teacher called Teacher Damaris, and she was our English teacher, and she just told me one day, I have a knack for telling stories. Wow. So my compositions were always read out in class.
Okay. Thank you, Teacher Damaris.
So I think, going back, I started writing when I was really young, and I would write stories. I would draw. I used to be an artist. I would draw. Okay, maybe I'm still an artist. I don't know. I would draw. So slowly, I've grown my career even in writing. Yeah, because what I do right now, it involves a lot of writing. You know, you have to write news articles, speeches, press releases, all the work. So writing is part of me. As you speak 1,000 words, how many words are you supposed to speak a day? Na mimi nikaponi 5,000, and me I'm there typing my 5,000 words. Wow. So writing has always been, it's not hard, it's been really easy. And I encourage my interns, guys who I work with, to always write something. You know, you need to write so that you can be able to give good stories. You also need to read. You can't just start writing without reading. So you also need to read. And the more you consume, the more ideas you get, and the better the work you produce in terms of writing. I'm thinking about a lot of things. I know you've answered. Yes, I was going to ask you, when did you realize you write? Because since I know you, I just know, you write. And you love writing. You should tell people about your blog, by the way. Rather the address of the blog, you put a pin on that. And then the concept of, you've talked about we should read so that we can write. And I think that writing is such a, it's also a very therapeutic process. For those of us who write journals, it's a very therapeutic process when you get a moment. And we are trying to, if we are, personally where I'm really trying to detox the, you know, all the digital devices, the TVs, the phones, the what, especially for the kids that we are raising, to start reading, to inculcate in them the culture of reading. So that when they get to a place, it's not only about, you know, playing games on phone, then move to playing games on the TV, and then move to, you know, working on your machines. We are all digital. Yes. Comment on that. And even reading has become digital. As you see, true, because you can easily download and read from your phone. You can download a book and read. You can use your Kindle. You can work on a laptop. So having that culture of reading is really important, as you said. There's something I saw somewhere about a guy. I think he was on a train with his kids, and his kids were all reading. And someone, I think you've seen that, and someone asked him, how did you get your kids to read? And he said, they do what they see me doing. So for example, you have kids. So for them to see you reading, they'll see, oh, this is the way of life. This is something I can take up. It's fun. It's actually enjoyable. I love the fact that you're even in a book club. And that takes a lot of commitment, reading a book a month, a book a month, a book a month. So reading should be a culture that we inculcate. I remember there is a Kenya, we used to have, I think, I don't know if it's global, that we used to have that that day where guys just sit down and read. We need to have such things, you know. Setting up libraries, even if it's in the rural areas, donating books. Nowadays, as you walk along the streets, you'll find these hawkers selling books at 50 shillings, 100 shillings. And actually, the book that Chacha bases his life on, he bought on the streets at 150 shillings, you know. So books are everywhere, and it's all about us now trying to teach our kids, trying to even, the people we are mentoring, train them that reading is really important. And it doesn't matter whatever gadget you're using, you can still read and even do something. My blog is called The Girl in Kenya. I just write about everything and anything. There are things that are true, there are things that are just fictional. I put my thoughts there, my experiences there. I do it either in prose form, in poetry. I can't sing to save myself, so yeah, I don't do that. And then also I want to talk about, you know, when you were back in Moi, you were in my play, remember?
Yes, I was. And I remember I also did script writing. Yes.
Script writing. So back in Moi, in our 4th year, so when you're doing when guys were majoring in, I majored in literature, then I minored in theatre and film. And part of theatre, we had to do that script writing, and we had to produce a play. You remember? And then mine was outside, surrounded by a car. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is, you know, those experiences where you can get an opportunity to just use as skills that you can do something with it. You know, there are people who live by being authors. It's actually a way of, and even if you're serious with a blog, like now what you're doing with your podcast, and if you have a blog and you're just writing your stories there, you can get you can generate some income from it, and that will also just contributing to the many words people want to read. We can never have enough of this, just the way we can never have enough of movies, books. We need books. We need books. And there's a thing about the way books smell. For me, I love entering a bookshop, a library, and you're like,
the other day I had an experience in town. I bought books with all the money I had, and then now I look for fare. I'd rather Fuliza fare. And I bought books in my bag, and I go home and I'm feeling guilty. And I'm like, guy, are you the one who just did that? As in, that's how much I go crazy about books. And don't make me enter like textbook center, like random.
And then that smell hits you, and you're like, oh my God, I just want to stay here and sleep here and lie on this floor and read.
And they're seeing books from left, right, and center. You've said something about turning you started as it was a passion, your teacher identified it, and I remember you got your first job from, writing.
Writing, after campus, I joined a small media company, and I was a reporter. So, and this was business. So, there's something called business English. So you had to understand these terms. We'll go for press briefings. At the end of the day, they expect you to file stories. We'll do features. So here writing really came up. And I think within my first month there, my boss was like, you've done this before. Because I did an interview, and I did an interview of a CEO. I was actually, there you're in what is it, that presence of someone you've been seen on TV, and you're just fresh from campus and you can't believe it. So we did an interview, and then my boss told me, you're the one who's going to do this story. Pressure. Hey, so that's the time now. When after I did that story, my boss was like, okay, so you've done this before? I'm like, no. And he's like, you're really writing well. And he encouraged me to read Harvard Business Review, Business Daily. We'll buy Business Daily every day. So that I was able to get now into that business language. Into that business language. So it's about working hard, working towards that talent, that skill that you have, and building on it. And somehow it will get you somewhere. It will get you somewhere eventually one day. Slowly, you start from somewhere and you go growing.
Imagine.
But I also wanted to talk about promoting African writers. Hey, okay, now last year, when the year began last year, I was like, this year I'm going to read 4 Swahili books. And I bought Kiswahili kitukuzwe. But, okay, first of all, I didn't finish. It was so hard.
At Yes, you have admitted.
It was so hard. Oh my God, it was so hard. They're still there. 3 are uncovered, but the one I read, I think I've reached maybe chapter 3 or 4. But it wasn't easy. But when I bought those Swahili books, I was like, I'm promoting African writers, Kenyan writers. We need to do more of that. You know, when you hear of writers like Daniel Steele, Francine Rivers, you want to hear Ngugi wa Thiong'o. You know, those are people who, we need more Ngugi wa Thiong'os coming up, especially in our generation. Like, you can't tell, like someone like Steve Biko, you know, those are people who are writing. So we need to have more of this. And even the generations that are coming up, you know, we need to have more of this. I'm always happy when I see a small girl has launched a book. Okay, it challenges me. Like last year, there was this girl who launched a book. And I think it was about pop stars or something, you know. So we need to encourage Kenyans to support Kenyan writers, to support Kenyan artists, you know. Yeah, that way we are building ourselves. We are getting our authors out there. We're getting our artists out there. And we want to have more of that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. In our book club, when we propose to read an African literature, no one reads soft. Guys, we buy. You buy. We are all told this book is found here and here at this price, and this is what we are reading. So we all buy if it's an African author. We don't read e-copies. Now we've all gotten into the culture of buying, unless it's a, you know, unless it's those Daniel Steeles. It's that's investing, by the way. Allowed. So we have library of books. You said something interesting about developing libraries in communities. It is something that we have been thinking about of, you know, like looking for a group of people to mentor. A group of, like, it's like a book club giving birth to another book club for young people, and then just giving them books so that they can read and grow. And I've seen people starting initiatives like that in communities where they're setting up free libraries for people to come in and read and go, because it really contributes to our literacy levels. But they're funny enough, the other day I heard we have very low percentages of literacy in Kenya. Yes. We always think that by the way, we all think we are okay. We are literate, all of us. We are not. And it's even the people who, sorry, we are talking when KCPE has just been released, but even people who just sat for their KCPE and all, we really need this reading culture, you know, inculcated in us. Apart from this, Mish, I want you to tell us about other things that you've done, initiatives, because I know you've done things apart from your career line of writing, other businesses you've done, other things that you've done to make you move forward, because I know you have them. Oh my God. Let me start by saying my husband says I'm seasonal. Okay, am I seasonal? I'm seasonal, that's what he says. Like now, the season I'm in right now, I'm crocheting. So he says that's a season. Anyway, so I think I've done, apart from maybe the things I do in terms of serving, let me start with serving. I teach kids Sunday school, where I go to church. I love kids, so I teach 2-year-olds the Bible. It's not easy, so that is what I do in terms of what I do in terms of in church. And then I have a business. I have businesses. Yes, businesses. My most favorite one is Ankara Wears. We produce everything from African fabric, kitenge, everything from bags to shoes, to beddings, to table mats. I do Ankara Wears, so you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram, Ankara Wears. So I'll still am seasonal. So there are times when I have customers who know I sell toys, second-hand toys. And I sell second-hand toys. So again, that one is called Tuni Toys. I'm still seasonal. And last year I started doing thrifted jewelry. Yes. Represent. This is sleek and vintage, guys. Yes. Thrifted jewelry. So, and then besides that, just mentoring guys, especially who are coming in the PR and comms profession. I just mentor them, you know, just
telling them how things are, working with them. I do that a lot. And then what else?
And crocheting.
And crocheting.
Hey. You're very artistic and you work well with your hands. The things that you can do with your hands. You see, those
I'm an artist.
Yeah, you are.
I am, by the way. You know, when I was a kid, I used to draw. I used to paint. Okay, maybe that will be my next.
Your retirement plan.
My retirement plan.
Yeah.
But in all this,
bad.
I always think, you know, right now you might have a job. Tomorrow you don't have. You will need to have all these small things to help you get by. And just waking up and having something you're doing. You know, you can't just sit in the house the whole day, you're jobless. No, you need to look for things to do, how to generate income. I always say, even if it's 100 shillings, it's mine. I've earned it. So you need to get up and go and earn that money. You need to go and do something with your life. Have a purpose. Have a purpose. When COVID came, you know, when COVID came, we were all just sitting in the house. There was nothing much you were doing. That was a time when that was a great opportunity to discover yourself, to discover things that you can do. I think that was one of the seasons that, it shocked us. You know, we didn't even know if we'll be alive this year.
I thought the world was ending. And I knew, I was so 100% the world is ending.
Yeah, that things right. It wasn't easy. So I think that season made me realize that I had to do other things. Apart from just being me, I need to have a life. And having a life even just outside work and having a life outside home. So I'm still work in progress. I'm still looking for great ideas that I can take up. Who knows, maybe next year I'll be doing what? Let me not say.
I know this one pushed you, Mish. So tell us how much and where we'll find it and how we can buy the book.
Okay, so as I said, we are yet to launch it. My husband wants us to do a big thing, but at the moment, if you want it, you can just talk to me. It's not yet out there, but I'll have it on Amazon. Maybe once we launch, we'll have a few copies going out for free online, and then we'll have some copies for sale. So once I figure all that out, and this has been a challenge actually for me. This has been a challenge. Like, I can't just sit on it. There's a reason why maybe God drove me towards writing it. So this has been a challenge for me. I'm going to see this and make sure that it's out. And I'll work on something else. Yeah, I'll work on something else.
There you had it from the author. Do you have a parting shot?
Parting shot.
Because maybe just let me say something that you have inspired me with, because from where I come from, and I've known Mish for quite some time, and from where I've come from, you're always someone who's, you know, looking for something to keep busy with. It's not even about that 100 bob you've talked about, because I mean, you've never sat home unemployed, you've never sat home, you know, and all these things you're doing in the middle of having a job. You're not like satisfied and sitting and saying, okay, now I'm good. You're always running around and looking for the next best thing. What can you do? What can you? And that's why I said, when she was writing the novel, she was seated right next to me, meaning we were neighbors at work, like, in the office. So she was writing the book, and we are there, and we are working and doing all our other things. That's why that point had to come out. So you don't just sit and relax and be satisfied or comfortable. You always go out of your way to see, now what next, what other thing. At least I've been there when you were thinking about Ankara wears. Before it was Ankara wears, it was supposed to be a baby life. Yes. And at least I've seen you through all the brainstorming and coming out and doing things, and I'm so proud of you and where you are. Thank you for coming on the Different KE podcast. And you can tell us now your parting shot.
My parting shot. Don't be satisfied with what you have at the moment. Life will throw things at you. Find a way of balancing. Find a way of finding yourself in all that. And don't get lost in that. In all things that happen in life, take a minute. Like I said, I started crocheting. It was this year. Yeah, it was this year actually. I think I've done yourself. Yeah, I'm watching YouTube. I'm using YouTube. And there's a friend of mine actually, when she saw me posting the blanket I made a nice baby blanket for my friend. So when she saw that, she felt challenged. And yesterday she sent me a photo of something looks like a sweater.
Wow.
So she's challenged me.
Yeah. Wow.
So life is all about learning from one another, picking up. There's nothing impossible that you can. There's nothing that is too hard for you to do, and take advantage of the opportunities that are brought to you, that come to you, and give it your best. My dad always says you have to, if you're working, work like you're working for God. Work like there's no tomorrow. If you're taking up on any project, take it and run with it and give it your all and give it your best shot. Something that you'll be proud of. The times when I'm walking around, I see, oh, I was part of that. I feel nice, you know. I feel good, and it counts, you know, it counts. You can even, as in it counts, like you've made a contribution and make a positive contribution.
Yeah. Actually, that's another lesson I learned from you. The way you're so passionate about things about like making marks in history. You're not, you don't necessarily concentrate on these things that are seen, that are tangible, but you go for, yeah, you made a mark here, you did this well, you did this well, you did this well, and you left, you know. Yeah, so I'm proud of you. I celebrate you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, guys, for watching. We are buying same script, different cast, because, you know, local author, and it's a fictional story, and it's very interesting. And the beauty is that we can go back to so many Netflix movies right now and tell you that, you know, almost, hey, I've forgotten one of the names. There's a very nice series happening right now. It's a very short series, but the life of the person acting is also inspired by a book, which was given to him by his dad. Yeah, Lupin.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Is it Lupin?
Right. Lupin.
It has a French something. Yes, so thank you for watching, and have a good one. Please don't forget to subscribe. Have a good one.